Greetings, family, and welcome to another session of Conversations. You know, I say it all the time, Conversations is presented so that you can be educated, emancipated, empowered, so that you can live the life that you were born to live. What kind of life is that? It's the kingdom life. And I am so happy to have sitting with me today, one of our own here at Macedonia, Dr. Earl Stewart. I just call him Dr. Earl. Good to have you, Dr. Earl, here with us in Conversations. And we're going to talk about the necessity of you taking care of yourself, good health. And so, Dr. Earl, first question for you. How can we all begin living healthier lives?
And number one, thanks for having me, Pastor. I'm so pleased to be here. I've watched a couple of the conversation sessions previously. I think, you know, it's important to understand the importance of the notion that an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Mm-hmm. And so what I think any physician colleague would probably say to anyone, including our congregation here, is that it's important to work on the focus in preventing diseases, specifically chronic diseases, lifestyle-related diseases, instead of just waiting for something to happen and then trying to treat it. Yeah. And so living healthy along those lines pretty much is suggestive of eating well, eating healthy. CDC, I usually discuss this with my own patients, recommends that for the 3 largest meals of the day, the plate should be at least 50% plants. Those are fresh fruits and vegetables. Okay. 25% lean protein, 25% carbohydrate. And then in addition to that, exercising. So exercise is crucial. Exercise definitely in combination with the recommendation to eat a certain way helps to maintain normal weight. Yeah. And so when we exercise, I often jokingly tell patients, there's no expectation that you go out and engage in a triathlon. You know, all you have to do is 30 minutes a day for at least 5 days a week of moderate intensity exercise. That's essentially anything that breaks a sweat, gets the heart rate above 110 a little bit. And if you do that for 30 minutes a day for at least 5 days a week, or said another way, 75 minutes twice a day a week, or either 150 minutes a week, those lifestyle modifications and choices really helps to keep you healthy.
What you're telling us is that we need to be proactive rather than retroactive.
Absolutely.
And you know, I see it so often. We want God to heal us. Yeah. And you know, I said it. You know, I don't pray that God heals me. Yeah. I don't pray for divine healing. I pray for divine health.
Absolutely.
And divine health means I don't get sick. Yeah. But I've got to help God to help me not to get sick, which means I got to be proactive about doing the right thing so I don't get sick. And you know, everybody who knows me knows I'm a vegetarian. Yeah. I'm a vegetarian. I exercise. I do something every single day because I want to help God help me not to get sick.
Yeah, faith without works is dead.
Wait, say that again?
Faith without works.
Faith without works is dead.
You know, it's all right to just have the notion. That's James 5:16. It's all right to have the notion to essentially want to be better, but you have to do the work.
That's it.
I mean, that's so applicable in so many different aspects of our lives, but we have to do the work and put in the work and invest time in ourselves to be healthy, and not just physically, emotionally, financially,
in every way,
spiritually. I mean, that's
everything. You have to put the work in yourself. And now, so what? And we may have already answered that question. What's some of the greatest hindrances or threats to achieving good health?
I stand convicted like this in this myself. Time, I think. I think some people just feel like they don't have time. But one of the most important things I want all of us to remember is that being busy does not equate to being active. Because a lot of busy professionals, a lot of busy ministers, doctors, lawyers, teachers, principals, everybody who kind of equates. You know, they said to their doctor, "Oh yeah, I do stuff." Yeah, but what are you doing?
Right.
You can be busy sitting down for 8 hours a day.
That's right.
So it's important to get up and move. I always love former First Lady Michelle Obama's campaign of Let's Move. And specifically that was focused on childhood obesity. But as an adult medicine specialist, it absolutely has significant applications to adults because we are the ones sometimes who just don't remember to move. We're busy. We're taking care of families. We're taking care of spouses, children, our own professional responsibilities. We're taking care of houses. Some people at certain ages are taking care of elderly family family members. And they sometimes don't find the time. So what I usually tell people is to just try to find 30 minutes a day that you can devote to self-care.
Yes.
Carve it out. Put it on your calendar. Set a reminder on your calendar. This is my self-care time. For me to take a walk.
You have to do
that.
that.
Go to the gym. For me to do some meditation. For me to pray and read scripture. For me to do something where I can physically enhance my life, but also spiritually.
Absolutely.
So
we have to, and you and I talked prior to our doing conversations about ministers, doctors, first responders. We're always taking care of other people, but when we're notorious for not taking care of ourselves. And I say it all the time. People treat you the way you let yourself be treated. And they treat you the way you treat yourself. If you don't think much of yourself, enough of yourself to take care of you, then other people will let you go. They'll let you kill yourself taking care of them.
It is not uncommon on that same wavelength. I have seen it in my own practice. There'll be a spouse who looks relatively healthy, taking care of another spouse with dementia or cancer. That caretaker will drop dead before the patient will.
Yes.
And so caregiver stress is really, really, really big in the dementia sort of aspect of medical care and health care. But I think it applies to a variety of different medical conditions and diseases as well. Before healing others, heal thyself.
Absolutely.
I always say that's not mine. It's not original to me. I borrowed that from an insurance company, believe it or not, called Pacifica Healthcare when I was at Mercer in undergrad. I got a scholarship from them. And I always loved the fact that their company model, I think they were Black owned. Their company model was before healing others, heal thyself. And so that's an important charge to us to keep, I guess I should say, nobody's going to care more about you than you do about your own body. Than you do about your own mind.
That's it.
I know we talk about some scriptures and things, and I love in 1 Corinthians 3:6 where Paul writes to the church at Corinth and pretty much encourages us to look at the body as our temple.
Right.
That's important for a Christian to make that connection because we especially Black folk, we love our church. We take possession of our church. We take ownership of our church. We know that it's God's church.
Right.
But we love our church. Your body is your first church.
Absolutely.
So you have to make sure that you keep it up. Let no leak be in the temple too early. It's going to happen eventually. We all age and we all sometimes develop things as time progresses. But there's no way in the world you should be in your 20s and 30s on 2 and 3 different medications for diabetes and hypertension. It's going to be crucial to understand the importance of making good lifestyle choices early. I see in my own practice, I see so many young people who have non-genetic influences on high cholesterol. It's just because of how they eat.
Lifestyle.
Right? It's just because of lack of exercise. It's just because of excess weight.
Right.
I see a lot of young people, but what I thought was the more genetically influenced type of diabetes called type 1 diabetes. There's even the type 1.5 diabetes, which we see occasionally, where they can sometimes manifest symptoms of both type 1 and type 2. But I see a lot of type 2 diabetics in their 20s.
Wow.
And then most of them look like me and you. And so that bothers me tremendously. And the first thing I often tell them is that it should be our goal to reverse this.
Absolutely.
If I plant that seed in their minds to understand the importance of that, then it scares a lot of them. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Ain't that like scared Black people when you show 30 medication? It scares a lot of them about okay, I'm gonna have to eat. This is pretty serious. And then
the awakening.
They start.
But it's too late. We're not shouldn't say too late, but it's unfortunate that they waited that long. And anybody who knows me knows I'm big on exercise, eating right, vegetarian, eating right, exercise, that kind of thing. I encourage that because I want to see our people do better. I want to see us do better for ourselves and taking care of ourselves so that we can leave a legacy for the next generation as well. Because we become very sedentary now. And you mentioned about scripture, our body is a temple. When Paul wrote that, those who were who were at that time understood the analogy. We really don't, because we don't have temples. Now we have the church building, but if our body is a temple, there's certain things you didn't take into the temple. Certain things you didn't do with the temple. And so what that says to us is that there's certain things that we ought not be putting into our system.
Oh, absolutely.
There's certain things that we ought not be doing with our body that stresses our body. And I'm just going to say it, and I'm not scared of y'all. I'm not scared of y'all. Listen, it's a shame that you have people who are 30 years old who look like they're 50, 60 years old. Because they wear themselves out. They're they're not eating right, not getting exercise, not resting, and just, partying all the time, and you're wearing your body out.
Oh, it can happen.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you always sort of represent the example of someone who is high in spiritual stature, but also you understand the importance of physical health.
We have to.
Because a lot of times as a black man in medicine taking care of other black people predominantly, I see all kinds of patients from all kinds of backgrounds, but I'm really, really particularly hard on my people. Black women have a tendency to take care of everybody else and put themselves last. I've had an aunt who used to do that, who I love dearly, she had a heart attack on the phone with me.
Wow.
And that haunted me for a long time.
Wow.
And then black men are notorious a lot of times for not even focusing on understanding the importance of our health.
Yeah.
And until a lot of times it's too late. I have had patients wander in the office in diabetic coma. There's nothing I can do for you in that setting. We got to get you to a hospital.
Wow.
I've had patients wander into the office who've had subacute strokes. There's nothing I can do for you at that moment. I got to get you to a hospital. So why not spend the time investing in preventing these types of diseases instead of investing so much money, because it's going to have to happen. I mean, once we find that you have a stroke, once we find that you're a poorly controlled diabetic, we're going to have to put you on medication. We're going to have to get you to a point where you can get that stuff under control, you can prevent complications, and then we can discuss lifestyle modification as a part of that. Why not focus on the lifestyle modification right now?
Absolutely.
And understand the importance of not putting any and everything into your body, expecting a positive outcome.
Absolutely.
Smoking is one. Drugs, too much alcohol, addictive substances, illicit substances. When you put all of that stuff in your body, you're essentially defaming the temple.
And even too much of good foods.
Oh, absolutely.
We overeat, and we overeat, and then I've said it so many times. When Satan takes Jesus to the top of the mountain and says, "Cast yourself down." And because it is written, Satan knows the word too. It is written that he will give his angels to keep charge over you, that you will not dash your foot against a stone. Jesus says, "Thou shalt not tempt the Lord your God." Whenever we sit in front of a plate of food that we know is not good for us, we're diabetic, but we have, we just got finished with Thanksgiving, headed to Christmas. We got cakes and pies and all this other kind of stuff, and you chitlin eating folks who got high cholesterol and pig feet and that kind of thing. You sit in front of that plate and you've got a plate of everything that the doctor tells you to stay away from, and you ask the Lord to bless it. It's hypocritical, and it's akin to tempting the Lord our God. We got to remember, listen, we talk about stewardship in the church, and one of the things that the church has not talked about, we talk about stewardship of our time, our talent, and our treasure, but we've not talked about being good stewards of our body. The first thing that God gave us was not money, it was not even time, it was not treasure, it was not talent. The first thing God gave us is a body, and we got to be good stewards of the first thing that he gave us so that we can exercise good stewardship of the other things.
You cannot effectively take care of anyone else. We've said this already, if you don't take care of yourself first. You cannot effectively do the work of the church, do the work of being a good Christian if you're always having to stop and inject insulin. If you always have to remember to take your blood pressure medication. And I often tell a lot of people that it's a job being a diabetic.
Yeah.
It's a very...
I don't want that job.
It's a very...
I don't want that job.
And you don't get paid for it. You're actually paying other people.
You're paying other people. That's right.
It's a job because you have to remember that every 3 months you need to see a doctor.
My Lord.
You have to get your foot examination done once a year. You got to get an eye examination done once a year. You got to make sure to check the urine at least once a year.
Who wants that job?
Yeah, and you have to take medication every day. I know I don't want that job.
No.
But it's very inconvenient when you focus initially on preventing those kinds of chronic diseases. And we as a people have a disproportionate amount of those diseases affecting our people in this community. Yeah. It's just well documented that those are data from the National Bureau of Health Statistics. Yeah. We can go all day and just kind of quote some of that information, but the nitty gritty of it all is understanding first and foremost that this stuff can be prevented.
You know what? I want to interrupt right here because what you're saying is so profound, but it also translates to the next generation or the next generation as well. Mm-hmm. The sad thing, it's sad for adults to have to live with what you just mentioned, but when you have childhood obesity, childhood diabetes because of the lifestyle of the parents and the eating habits and the lifestyle habits of the parents being passed down to the children. So we got children in their teens, or even before preteen, who are diabetics and dealing with obesity issues. That's sad. Yeah. That's sad.
Praise God for iPhones and praise God for iPads. And I mean, I have, we all have.
Yeah.
I do remember growing up that we were more active.
We played outside.
We loved to be outside.
We didn't, even when we didn't love to be outside, they made us go outside.
Yeah, I mean, sure. that was understood that on Saturday morning.
That's it.
You may watch your cartoons.
Yeah.
That was morning, but in the evening.
You go afternoon. You out in the basketball, football, street football, dodgeball. That's right. That's it. Girls are gonna do double dutch, jump roping, and that kind of thing. Yeah. That was just a normal part of life.
We would find anything to play with, and I see even in the younger people, the youth, even in my own family, they don't do that.
No.
Now, sometimes it's apprehension among the part of the parents about letting the kids go outside.
Yeah.
But
our parents used to sit on the porch and watch us play.
Yeah.
I mean, so that can't be the excuse.
No, you're exactly right. And it's important to understand that when you're allowing the child, when you're allowing the youth to be active, when you're allowing them to be physically active, you're setting them up for good health behaviors that they can have as an adult. Absolutely. And what we don't inherit, these chronic diseases are not, because I know sometimes that's a point of misunderstanding for a lot of people. They think, I hear this all the time. Well, my mom had high blood pressure and my dad smoked.
As if that makes it all right.
Right, and then my mom was diabetic, so I knew I was going to get it wrong. That is not the answer.
Right.
The correct answer is, I understand that my mom and dad and grandparents ate a certain way, and that's what I learned.
Right.
And when I learned that, I started basically adapting and adopting that for my own lifestyle and health behaviors.
Right.
That's a public health term.
Right.
In public health, we have certain health behaviors that sort of influence our health outcomes. Right. So it's important to understand that, and I told you once before, Bishop, that that's the hardest thing I do every day, is trying to get grown people to change their behaviors. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder, sometimes if I'm in pediatrics trying to, but it's tough. Yeah. It's tough because you have some 75-year-olds, you tell them, very rarely do we tell them that they're diabetic for the first time, but a lot of times that blood pressure, well into the 80s and 70s, is always high. And so I'm just like, okay, how much sodium are you taking? And how much salt are you adding to food? Well, I know you got to die with something. I said, yeah, but you don't have to die prematurely with something.
Right.
Because, who knows if, you might be 75, 80. Who knows if you could live to be 100?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I spoke at our family reunion on my mother's side, at the Utley family reunion about 4 to 6 years ago. And one of the things I talked about was health. And I basically told them that I went back in the family history and I saw that we had an ancestor who was a former slave who lived to be 101 years old. Her name was Doxy Utley. I took a picture of her tombstone and put on the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And basically shared that with the family. And everybody looked at me and I was like, that long ago? Somebody lived to be that old? I'm like, it's possible.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't know anything else about it, but I know that fact, that there's longevity in our genes.
Yes. Yes.
And so we affect that by not being good stewards of that.
Yes.
You have to be a good steward of your health. We're good stewards of everything.
Of everything.
I mean, we love our spouses, we love our family, we love our children, we love our children, we love some people even love a few people even love their jobs. They try to be good stewards of that. But you have to be a good steward of yourself. If you don't first take care of yourself, the rest of that other stuff, you won't be able to devote time.
And you're really not taking care of them.
Yeah.
If you're not taking care of you.
Absolutely.
Because then they've got to worry about your health when you're in the hospital and all these other things as well. You know, okay, listen, we can't not talk about COVID.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I just had my booster shot and a few weeks ago, and so let's talk about what do you want to say about COVID now?
Ooh, that's been the bane of any physician's existence for the last 22 months.
Yeah.
And so the most important thing I want to tell people is that, especially I'm speaking to that 18 to 34 age range in our African American community, you have got to get vaccinated.
Say it again. Say the age range and say it again. I want to make sure they're clear.
Those who are ages 18 to 34, you have got to get vaccinated. Why do you have to get vaccinated? You have to get vaccinated because you can be asymptomatic with that infection and go home and give it to mom and daddy and grandmama. They might have underlying conditions. They might get sick and die. I don't think I can be more succinct than that in expressing the importance of it. There